Welcome back. Now with a look at the weather, here's Rachel Yeager.
The sun is shining and you can expect that throughout the rest of the day. Let's see what we have in store over the next 5 days. We have a nice stretch of weather throughout the week. Today we'll have a high of 11 and a low of 2, only seeing a few clouds in the evening. Tomorrow the sun will continue with a high of 11 and a low of 2. We'll end the school week on Friday above historical temperatures with a high of 12 and a low of 6 and still no cloud cover. The clouds will begin to creep in on Saturday, but there will be a mix of sun with a high of 11 and a low of 4. We'll be ending the week with a high of 12 and a low of 8, but don't expect to see the sun because the rain will be around throughout the day and into next week. Enjoy the weather while it lasts because the sun in double digits won't be lasting for long. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Rachel. Now turning to national and international news. Doctors and aid groups in Haiti are desperately trying to set up cholera treatment centers in Port-au-Prince, where tent cities still house thousands of people. Hundreds of Haitians are already suffering from the waterborne disease, which causes diarrhea and vomiting. Officials say diseases are more likely to spread in the overcrowded city, which could cause a surge in cholera cases.
Christian households in Baghdad are on guard today after being targeted in a string of attacks this morning. 4 people were killed and 11 wounded when a number of bombs exploded in the predominantly Christian districts of Iraq's capital city. According to officials, the attacks happened within minutes of each other. This comes 1 week after an attack on a church left 58 people dead. Al-Qaeda militants have claimed responsibility for the attack and say the country should anticipate more violence against Christians.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper is in Seoul, South Korea today for the G20 summit. Harper says the focus will be on economic growth and will build on work started at the Toronto summit in June. Leaders will also discuss how to avoid a harmful currency war around the world. The 2-day summit is scheduled to begin tomorrow.
Now with your sports highlights, here's Phil Heidenreich.
I'm Phil Heidenreich, and here's what's going on in the world of sports. Humber's men's and women's soccer teams will kick off their attempt at a national championship in Edmonton today. The Hawks men take on the Atlantic champs from the University of New Brunswick at 1 p.m. Eastern, while the Hawks women do battle with the home side Northern Alberta Institute of Technology at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Hawks women will try to become the first Ontario College women's team to win a national crown in a major team sport. You can catch all of the Hawks action live in the soccer section on the CCAA website. Over to the hard court, where the Humber men and women tipped off their basketball seasons in Ancaster last night. Both teams got off to a fast start as the women clobbered Redeemer University by a score of 74-33. The men also dominated Redeemer, winning by a score of 79-38 in their first showing. The Hawks are staying on the road as they head to Niagara Falls to take on the Niagara College Knights tonight. Jesse Martin, a University of Denver hockey player, is lucky to be walking after taking a devastating hit. Martin suffered a broken neck after colliding with North Dakota's Brad Malone just 9 days ago. He took his first steps yesterday after suffering the injury in an NCAA game. His doctors say it will be at least a year before he can consider playing hockey again. In NHL action, the Toronto Maple Leafs continued their brutal winless slide as they were blanked 4-0 by the Lightning in Tampa last night. Red-hot sniper Steven Stamkos led the way for the Bolts, scoring the winner and adding another late in the game. Buds winger Phil Kessel continues to struggle as he has gone pointless since October 26th. The offensively challenged Leafs hope to turn the tide on their losing skid as they head to Miami to take on the Florida Panthers tonight. Elsewhere on the ice, all 6 Canadian NHL teams were in action last night. Carey Price continues to win back the trust of the Habs faithful as he notched a goose egg in Montreal's 2-0 win over Vancouver last night. The Ottawa Senators picked up a 5-2 victory over the Atlanta Thrashers. The Carolina Hurricanes embarrassed the Edmonton Oilers 7-1, and the Calgary Flames doubled up on the Colorado Avalanche 4-2. And finally, in NBA action, the Raptors are at home to take on the Charlotte Bobcats at the ACC tonight. Tip-off time is 7 p.m. That's all for sports. Now back to Scott and Pam in the studio.
Thanks, Phil. Coming up after the break, Deborah Sardinetto will have all your entertainment highlights.
Coming up on entertainment, the Twilight Saga sweeps the People's Choice nominees, Carrie Underwood hosts the Country Music Awards, and Morning Glory opens in theaters. I'll have all that and more after the break.